Well, warm Sabbath greetings to everyone. A little bit later in putting this video together than I normally would like to be, because it is clearly the Sabbath from where I'm sitting here looking out on this kind of dreary evening. It's rainy out there, but it's been a beautiful week, and we've had a great week here in Sussex, and I really hope and pray that you had a wonderful week wherever you spent it, and I hope that you have geared up and are now actually participating in a wonderful Sabbath. It's been a pretty busy week. Been a lot of appointments going on. I've really been trying to play a lot of catch up with, even from before the feast, just trying to get out and visit with some go-tos that I've kind of frankly been putting off for just a little while, just in terms of trying to get through the feast and all of the preparations for that. But now I'm getting caught up in terms of the go-tos and getting out there and meeting these folks and having the opportunity to answer their questions and spend a little bit of time with some of these folks, among other appointments and meetings going on. So overall, a very, very positive week, a very positive week. I hope your week has been positive. I hope it's been filled with blessings, and certainly there's always the possibility of it being filled with some lessons learned, and hopefully we're all learning and growing in that sense. And my wife has been spending some time helping out a neighbor, this gal that lives down the road from us in the subdivision just right next to us, is a friend of hers, and she's gotten to know her through the years. And she asked my wife to come and help her do some, just basically some decluttering of her home. And she's just the sweetest gal. She's got a family, but she works a lot, and she's also going to school as well. So she's very, very busy, and of course, she has a family to take care of, has a husband and a couple of kids, and so it's a very, very busy life for a lot of people, and that certainly includes a lot of us in the church. It's a busy life. And, the whole concept of going in and helping someone to declutter, in essence, just start by cleaning and sorting and decluttering, years of clutter that has built up. And so my wife has been learning a lot of lessons from that, and she's been sharing a lot of those things with me, and we've been discussing those things, and it's just, that's where my mind, I guess, has been kind of thinking about that concept of decluttering. And there's a lot of spiritual principles that we can think about too. I remember years ago, and this is growing up in the church, it's had to have been, I don't know how long ago. I don't even remember who the minister was, but it's something that has stuck with me. And maybe it was because the minister, it was something, sometimes we get into a sort of a habit of repeating things over and over again, and so you pick up on those things. I don't remember who it is, but it may have been something that he repeated often, but I do remember it well. And that, the idea is that you can learn a lot from people by visiting in their homes. And not that we're looking around to judge people or anything like that, but the lesson that this minister had picked up on is that a lot of times when he was going to meet these people, and these weren't necessarily members, they were prospective members or whatever, if their houses were very cluttered and not really picked up, not organized in that sense, there was a tendency for those folks to kind of be that way mentally, maybe even, spiritually, emotionally, that there was a lot of clutter. And those, that was just kind of an indicator. It's certainly, I'm sure that doesn't follow in every way, but I think there is absolutely some truth to that, because there's a principle here that when we live somewhere where there's clutter and disarray, we tend to, there's a reason, there tends to be a reason for that. And I don't want to get psychological, and I also don't want to use just these sweeping, these sweeping generalities either where we can just apply that across the board, but there's a tendency that if there's a cluttered home and messiness and disarray, then often that means that there are other issues. Whether it be a married couple who may have issues with their marriage, or children or family type situations where there tends to be disarray and clutter in their overall lives as well. And so, we all have a certain amount of clutter. But and I'm not talking about something here where we're talking about white glove, where you go around with a white glove and say, "Oh, this is awful." If you've ever visited my house, you probably see plenty of dust. But overall, in general, we like to keep the place picked up because there's a principle to that. If you're living in clutter, then a lot of times that's an indicator of what's going on emotionally or mentally, even spiritually. It certainly could follow. It's something to at least think about on this Sabbath day, and think about the possibility of decluttering. We all have a certain amount of decluttering that we need to do spiritually, but we certainly don't want to miss that aspect of doing some physical decluttering. If your home is in disarray or all cluttered up, my wife will tell you it's because the individual she's working with just said, I know that I'll feel better when this is done, when it's organized. Of course, you will feel better. That's a mental thing. That's an environmental thing. If you're picked up and everything in its place, there tends to be at least some organizational thought there, and so that's the principle there. But of course, in principle, all we have to do is read 1 Corinthians 14:40. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Let all things be done decently and in order. Just the way we live our lives, it should be decent and in order. Not necessarily, white glove treatment all the way around. If you want to, live that way, that's certainly up to you. But what it's talking about is just being aware of your environment and how important your environment is and what it says about you as an individual and even as a Christian. So those are my thoughts, and I hope that your Sabbath is a wonderful, fantastic Sabbath, and that you'll enjoy the Sabbath and appreciate the people around you. Tell somebody you love them, and have a great Sabbath wherever you plan to keep it. We look forward to seeing the brethren in Milwaukee. This is Milwaukee services this week, which means it's also our first game night. We're having a opportunity for a game night. We look forward to seeing many of you there. I've also sent some announcements around with regard to next weekend's exciting TWP in Joliet, Illinois. Appreciate your prayers with regard to that and Mr. Milich's safe passage here. Mr. and Mrs. Milich, I believe. I talked to them, but they're not exactly sure what the plans are yet, but I believe it'll be both of them traveling to the area next weekend for the TWP. I love you all. Have a tremendous Sabbath. I look forward to seeing you in Milwaukee. The rest of you, will see you in the weeks ahead. Take care. Have a great Sabbath. And I love you very much. And again, we'll talk to you real soon. Have a great Sabbath.